All right, so we are here this afternoon, the April the 23rd. We've got a fairly good show for you this afternoon. We're going to talk about pre-orders, Gay Iceman, how to stay positive in the face of salt, and a few other nice niche little items for you. So, Otter, why don't you start us off, man?
Okay, so there's been talk like the last few weeks or whatever about pre-orders, and I'd like to hear from both you, Darkstar, and you, Max, and then I'll talk about it. But like people have been discussing like if pre-orders are bad for video games, and like if you should not do it, and we should like boycott the concept of pre-orders.
Well, this is an old argument, basically, and boycotting is something that I'm, for the most part, against. Here's the thing: pre-orders were okay when they really did include nice extra bonuses like real DLC, not stuff that they're using or that they're passing as DLC now. I think the last time I had a pre-order was Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Mm-hmm.
No, it was Assassin's Creed 3, and it was I got the little tin box that came with it. Now, I mean, I think I didn't pay anything more for the actual game itself. I don't think. I might have paid like maybe $5, $6 more. But for what they're using as pre-order stuff now, I really don't agree with pre-orders now for the most part. Mostly because they charge you extra for what? Early access? It's not, you don't get your money's worth out of it. You don't get, all you get is the early access. You deal with all of the bugs that beta didn't deal with, and you get to pay full price, if not more, to deal with those bugs.
Mm-hmm.
And you really don't get that. Do you really get the difference between normal retail price and pre-order price in terms of content? Do you get that difference in money when you pre-order? When you say, I want to get that extra level, or I want to get that awesome-looking gun that's probably not that awesome in the first place, do I get $6? Do I get $10? Do I get $12 worth of content? And boycotting it is one of those things where, yeah, you can try to make a concerted effort, but the fact is that if people really want it, they're gonna get it. They don't care about a boycott.
Boycotts are so fucking ineffective lately. No one sticks to them anyway.
Yeah.
And, well, basically, if you're just personally not buying something anymore, that's good enough. You don't have to call it out as a boycott.
Yeah. I like. With Amazon, I don't really think I've encountered a really good reason to pre-order with Amazon, but Amazon with video games. But with Amazon, they have a thing where it's like, if you see something for cheap and it's not coming out for like a year, you can pre-order it, and then you'll be guaranteed that you will get that same price when it ships. I've done that with comic books and movies, and like sometimes I only save like 1 cent, and they'll send me an email saying, "You saved 1 cent, congratulations!" And I'm like, "Shut up." But sometimes I've saved like a couple dollars or even more than that because they'll randomly lower the price for stuff for no reason sometimes. But with video games, I don't think I've ever really done that with video games unless it was a game that I knew was coming out and I just pre-ordered on Amazon because a video game that I wanted, that I knew was most likely going to be good. I pre-ordered it because then I'd get it on the day it was released instead of 2 days later.
Well, when you've got something like a new IP,
Mm-hmm.
Watch Dogs.
Do what?
Like Watch Dogs.
Like a new IP.
Yeah. Watch Dogs.
Anytime a new game.
Mm-hmm.
Like a brand new title coming out, man.
Yeah.
anytime you have something like that, you're going to have your people that feel that it's worth to pay extra to be an early adapter, especially with first-person shooters. Namely, to get all the goodies that you can get before most everybody else starts playing. Now, that I really can't comment to, because it's going to be your personal experience as to how much you feel that experience is worth.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. There's just something about like the super early adaptation or adoption of games like that kind of like bugs me. I mean, maybe it's the fact that I can't spend $60 here and there, like just extremely willy nilly. Um, but I just don't agree. I just don't agree with super early adaptation, like adaptation. Alan Wake. I mean, with Alan Wake, that was that would make me a hypocrite. I got that game extremely early, but that was the only time I think that I really did that besides Assassin's Creed. I think I did that because of the 10.
Yeah, like with Nintendo and stuff, I most likely I might consider pre-ordering their new IP, the Squid one. What is it called? Shit, what is it called? The one where you're like squids and you shoot ink and
Splatoon.
yeah, Splatoon. I might actually consider buying that because that looks really good and it's Nintendo. I trust Nintendo a lot. But I probably won't. Video games are expensive.
Yeah, they
are. I am guilty of it by doing the Metro Last Light thing, but I really wanted to play Ranger mode, and I wasn't sure if they were gonna release the Ranger mode as a DLC, which was ridiculous in itself. That a difficulty mode was like loose from the game.
Mm-hmm.
But you could make the argument like I was gonna buy it anyway, at launch or pre-order or not. Yeah, but still, pre-ordering something does like encourage for more companies to enable it.
What did you feel that you got your money's worth out of what you would have ordinarily paid versus what you actually paid?
I probably would have waited a little bit longer to have the price drop. Then I bought the season pass one time only there, but that's different. Conversation. That's a different discussion.
That is a different discussion, one that I'm very passionate about.
Yeah, I'm ready to kill somebody over that. But yeah, I wouldn't say I really wasted my money, but I would definitely have waited a little bit longer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like with video games, and pre-ordering a movie on DVD and pre-ordering like a book or something, it's so much different than video games because with video games they can change things later on, and it really does seem like with video games, especially a lot of these big games like Assassin's Creed, for example, they're clearly rushing the games. They're rushing to get them out. They're cutting corners, and the product that they release isn't gonna be the best product. So when you pre-order it, it's like you're just encouraging that behavior. So yeah, like if they were releasing it for like $30 and you could pre-order it like that and get it at the beginning, I don't think it would be as big of a deal. But it's a full price game for something that's probably going to be broken at the beginning, and it'll most likely end up being really cheap later on, like in a year. And if you wait a year, then just wait a year.
Yeah, pre-ordering, I'd say, is a useless thing, as a game will never be out of stock. Not physically, not digitally.
Well, there is a case to be made that Silicon Knights games that use the Epic engine or game engine, whatever.
Unreal Engine.
Yeah, the ones that use that, a judge supposedly made a ruling that said that all of the copies of those games must be destroyed because of the legal issues that Silicon Knights had with
yeah, but that has nothing to do with pre-orders.
I'm just saying those games you might never be able to find again.
Yeah, but they were. out for years before that.
I'm just being facetious, but
yeah, that was an isolated case, and you can still get those copies from somebody else.
I know you can
Yeah.
still buy them in stores, which I'm like, why did the judge rule that if it didn't happen? Anyways,
Yeah, it was a silly rule anyway. It's like, hell, come on.
it's like
a
they
bit-
should have just buried them with the ET games.
Yeah, it was overzealous.
Well, I think naturally, I could say that if you don't like pre-orders, just don't get them. But the problem with that is that you get so many people that will actually pay so much more money just for a small advantage to be had within the pre-order.
Mm-hmm.
And there are those that will buy the game, like Max, that have something that may be involved in the pre-order that is not going to be later on, shipped later on. So it's really
Yeah,
kind of
they
hard to say.
bribed.
It really kind of comes into a balancing act, but ultimately I think what we're most pissed off at is how they've taken advantage of what we like about pre-orders and made us take this horrible saccharine type marketing with it.
Yeah, you shouldn't do it. It's encourages bad practices, and you will never run out of the game ever. You will always get a copy.
Well, like all those pre-order bonuses where it's like you get this gun or you get this or
Well,
like
that's by design.
or extra
There's-
game like extra content, and then later on they just release it as DLC anyways, and there was no point in actually doing it, getting the pre-order. That's just like that. I hate that. That is really dumb.
Yeah, you could make the argument like if you do the pre-order to get the DLC as bonus, you save the money for buying the C loose, but you have to also get the chance, like if you pre-order, you might hate the game and wasted all that money on the game.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at with new IPs.
Yeah, like with Watch Dogs, I totally say that anyone who pre-ordered that is an idiot. I'm sorry, but that's true.
In hindsight, yeah, but the way that it was marketed, shit. I've got a Game Informer magazine that's like a few years old talking about Watch Dogs, and this was still, just Xbox One even hadn't come out yet. It was still like 2 years away. So they were already talking about Watch Dogs and how awesome it was going to be.
Yeah. Ian Davis, I think that's how you say his name. He's like, laugh out louds. I never pre-order. I wait till stuff gets cheap because the market is flooded with games. That's true.
And that's what I did with Xbox 360. I mean, I waited till the later half of Xbox 360 and then stocked up on games, like a ton of them.
That's what I ended up doing with the PS3. Is like I waited for a while and then I bought it, and then I bought all these games for cheap, and not all of them were worth it, but they were cheap.
Well, also, whenever you do that, you really don't experience the seasonal divide,
Mm-hmm.
where you have a lot of releases during the holiday season, and then you have very little throughout the summer seasons, or the summer seasons. I just said summer seasons. The summer months, you don't have a whole lot of releases during then. When you do that, you actually get like a bunch of games that were quality titles, and during those summer months, you can still go through all those games you hadn't played yet. So that's actually a good advantage to waiting.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway.
Oh, Rachel's here.
Rachel. I'm sure we're gonna have to add in stuff now that Rachel's here.
Rachel, we were just talking about pre-orders.
Yeah.
So, do you have any thoughts on pre-orders for video games?
Rachel?
Rachel!
Well, we'll wait until her stuff works then.
Okay.
I can hear you guys now.
Oh,
I can hear
okay.
you.
Okay.
Rachel, do you have any thoughts about pre-orders on video games?
There's no yeah.
Yes.
Oh boy.
Hi.
Can you not hear us or?
Oh, I can hear you now.
Okay. So
Can you hear me?
we can hear you. I'll ask again. Do you have any thoughts on pre-orders for video games? Because that's what we were just talking about.
Oh, pre-orders. I've heard that the pre-orders are bullshit. At least from word of mouth, which I trust a little more than games media. Because they it takes a while for them to work out all the damned kinks, and you're buying a game before it's even completed.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's just
Redzor has also pre-ordered Aliens Isolation. Don't regret that either. And he also pre-ordered Killing Floor 2 Early Access instantly, and he didn't regret it. So, oh well.
Well, Killing Floor. Well, maybe if it's a brand that you trust, absolutely. Killing Floor is pretty good.
Well,
Killing Floor is pretty awesome.
I don't pre-order, period. Even if I trust it, I just do not want to encourage the behavior.
well, we're not saying that if you pre-order, you're always going to get screwed over. We're just saying that you're taking a risk with a not insignificant sum of money.
Yeah, and you're just perpetuating it.
I don't like the dishonest incentives to pre-order. Like with Aliens Isolation, I think they were like, oh, if you don't pre-order, you won't get these other DLC missions, and then I think they've now been released or something. It was really weird because they were on the disc. The content was on the disc. So I don't like it when they do that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's
DLC is going to be very expensive. Over you now.
Yeah.
And on your needs.
I think we've kind of talked this out.
Yeah, we've.
Yeah, probably. What's the next topic exactly? Did I miss one?
Yeah, gay Iceman.
Gay.
Oh yeah, gay Iceman. Well, the Iceman cometh very much apparently.
I don't even know what it is.
And into another man now.
Here, let me explain for those who don't know about what we're talking about. Iceman is one of the founding members of the X-Men. Originally, he covered himself in snow or something, and eventually he learned how to become an ice form. He's technically a very significant character within the X-Men. He's had many different relationships over the years. He's currently the adult X-Men. The adult Iceman is dating Kitty Pryde, and he also at one point had this weird love affair with Mystique. It's really strange, but she kind of liked him back. Anyways, he's known for his he's not really known for his relationships, but he's known for having relationships with many women over the years. And eventually, the X-Men ended up they're trying to do something different with the X-Men. So one of Marvel's major writers who had a lot of control over the Marvel Universe for a long time, writing 2 Avengers titles at a time and writing events, he was given the reins to X-Men, and he was writing 2 titles at the time. One of the X-Men titles was All New X-Men, I think. Yeah, something like that. And the whole point of that one is, for some reason, time travels back to the beginning of the X-Men, and takes Jean Grey, Cyclops, Young Beast, Iceman, and am I missing someone? I can't remember. Anyways, he takes them to the future for some reason. And
reasons.
Yeah, it was kind of interesting. It was an interesting idea because at the time, Jean Grey is dead. Spoiler. Not really. Cyclops has become.
All the time.
She eventually died for reals. Cyclops is now basically Magneto, and Magneto is actually he's working with him now, but Magneto became a good guy for a while. So Cyclops is now Magneto, essentially, in terms of the character.
What the fuck did that happen?
Well,
I've been out of the loop for too long. Shit.
this is really complicated to explain, but let me just finish explaining this quickly.
Okay.
No, I'm not really doing a good job at it. So there's all these differences with the characters, and like, Angel is one of the guys brought back. That's it. Angel is now like he had all his memories erased, and he's all weird and stuff. And so they have the young Angel with him, and them contrasting, and it's just it was an interesting idea, but it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And so recently, some leaks of pages from the comic that haven't come out yet were released, and in it, Jean Grey, young Jean Grey, she uses her psychic powers to go into Bobby Drake, Iceman's brain, and discover that he's gay. And Jean Grey would never do that. That's not something Jean Grey would ever do. She usually is very respectful, especially to her friends, of their mental privacy. So she goes in there and discovers he's gay and mentions it to him, and he apparently had been like saying things to women or something, possibly like harassing them in terms of, I don't know, I don't really care either. But so it's revealed that he's gay, and this is young Iceman. And so now there's young Iceman and current Iceman, who is, at least at the time, was dating Kitty Pryde, but I think she's in space now.
Okay, well, if that would be the case, that wouldn't make him gay. That would make him bisexual.
Yeah, and there's comments in the comic about like people like Gwen Lily Knight. She's felt, and Crazy Logic. They've both had issues with this, like we've been talking and stuff, and like, yeah, it's like they're erasing the idea of bisexuality. But if this is actually accurate, with Iceman being gay and a young Iceman being gay, but then somehow old Iceman isn't gay, then it's like, well, they're the same person, so it's like genetics don't matter, because there's the whole, well, it's all genetic, which we won't get into, because that's controversial to discuss. Anyways, so yeah, it's very weird. And then not Bryan Singer, that's the guy who does the movies.
So
Bendis is like, oh, I didn't want this to be a thing. I wanted it to just come out in the issue. I didn't want the leaks. I'm like, yeah, Marvel wanted this to be out there so that people would talk about it. I don't really know if he's being that honest, but Brian Michael Bendis is also known for derailing characters that he doesn't really care for that much, in terms of gay paradox, in terms of like he'll take, I can't really think of a good example. He's one example that's not really specific to a character is he'll ignore continuity that he doesn't care about, which gets weird, but yeah.
So are we sure that are we sure that they have not made plans for Beast to be like a power top?
Oh, come on. It's funny because
a power top.
in Grant Morrison's run,
if you have like a photo, like a very photosensitive imagination, like,
damn it, Darkstar, now I'm thinking about it. Oh,
it's probably porn of it somewhere.
This got furry very quickly. What the fuck?
Rachel, go to Rule 34 or whatever and type in.
No, I'm not going there right now. I'm already.
Rule34.payheal.net.
Images in my brain are already bad enough. Okay, don't.
Yeah,
no.
Darkstar, that was totally uncalled for.
No, I mean, it's not like I'm triggered or anything.
And it doesn't necessarily mean that they're furries.
No, it's not. No, they're not furries, but like fucking Nightcrawler, depending on what variety you have, is totally fluffy. Not fluffy, but furry.
Anyway, but it's interesting because Grant Morrison actually had Beast in his run. What was it called? New X-Men. Beast, I can't remember why he does it, but he ends up claiming that he's gay, and I think it's kind of to like spite this woman he's dating who wasn't. I can't remember. It was just weird because he's like,
He's
yeah, I'm
just
gay.
like one of my favorite X-Men. I gotta say.
He's not gay though.
really
Just
cool.
to be clear, he's not. He was just saying that to get a rise.
Well,
out of it.
I know, but I'm just saying he's pretty cool. Like I really dig Beast. He's an intellectual, but he can also throw a car at your head. So I totally respect that.
Here's another example of the whole Iceman is gay thing being like trying to put it in a different perspective with a different thing. It's like if Beast, young Beast came out and he's like, oh yeah, I hate reading, I hate books. I'm not really into intellectual stuff, but I just pretend.
I mean, I don't really give a shit what Iceman as a character does sexually. It's why they've chosen to do that that's more important to me. I mean, is it because they're trying to just put gay characters in there for shits? Because that seems really disingenuous.
They have so many gay characters, and
the being gay.
Darkstar, let us hear what you have to say, Darkstar.
Basically adding in a character to be gay for the sake of being gay.
Mm-hmm.
It's tokenism.
Yeah, it's tokenism, and it's almost like a Mary Sue, but not quite. It's just like a Mary Sue event. I mean, unless it's like extremely important for some reason, it's just retarded to add it in.
Well, the social justice warriors have actually started, I think, freaking out a little bit and just sending mean questions to Bendis, maybe, I'm not sure, on Tumblr. But yeah, this should be something that social justice warriors are just waging a war about, because it's very weird.
Why would they be upset about this? I mean, isn't this what they wanted?
What they want is for it to be cut and dry. They're making a character who is never
ambiguously gay.
Yeah, he's always been. He's in many relationships with women. He clearly actually likes the relationships. He initiates them, and whatever. There was a whole storyline in Astonishing X-Men a few years ago, where it's about him, his powers going out of control. I think it's because he got a sliver of something Apocalypse related, like the villain Apocalypse. It was giving him too much power somehow, and all of his exes are targeted, and it's just oh yeah, and then he's been secretly gay for 50 years, even though there's no reason for him to be gay.
That makes no sense. It makes him more bisexual.
Well, it doesn't even make him bisexual, because he's claiming, no, I'm gay. They even talk about the bisexual angle, and they're like, no.
That doesn't even make any sense.
I know.
How do you just fuck that many women and you're gay? That doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah, it doesn't.
I mean, I've heard of some situations where you have people who,
there's been so many
where it varies, I guess. I don't know. And people have different preferences
throughout the years in the X-Men. So why would he feel like for 50 years he'd have to keep hiding it?
Yeah, exactly. Why would you? That makes zero sense at all. Because there are so many gay characters. Why don't they? And that's another thing that bothers me about all this. Why don't they just push the gay characters forward and add them more into groups and stuff, and then focus on their storylines a little more?
Well, they tried that with North Star, and the character was really annoying, and his husband was really annoying, and kept saying oh, you shouldn't hang out with them. You should just stay with me. Blah blah blah. I'm stupid. It was really annoying. It was a really annoying storyline that they promoted, the first gay weddings. Okay, but it's boring.
I have no problems with characters being gay.
I don't have a problem with characters being gay either. But doing this is shit. This is not.
Yeah, this isn't making any sense. It makes gay couple.
Yeah, sex orientation only makes sense if it's
because
the story. That's
the characters being gay. It just has to make sense. It just has to make sense.
Yeah. And he's actually come out and said that Oliver said Rachel nailed it. But yeah, it's very disrespectful to every person in humanity. Essentially, it's just I'm just gonna do shit.
Much.
But
Well, maybe he had to date all those women to make sure that he was gay.
Yeah, but he doesn't think he's gay now, or like there's been no
No,
indication.
his future self is straight. This particular version of him is gay, but the version of him that we all know and that he's cognizant of is straight.
How
Because
does that make
comics.
sense?
Well, is
God
that
damn
the
it.
official statement from Bendis? Because it's
That's how the comic reads.
okay.
That's exactly what he says in the comic but my future self is straight. Like, he's cognizant of it. It's how they're running the storyline. It's really confusing, but I'm kind of gotten used to my comics being really confusing. But yeah, the timeline isn't really clear, but this particular version of him is gay, but he, as an overall arcing character, is not.
Yeah, it's weird. And if if that's what it is, if the future one is not gay, but the past one is gay, and they're genetically the same character, that should be upsetting a lot of people because of genetics.
Mm,
We won't get into the genetics and stuff, but
but not even that. But I mean, the thing is that we're talking about comic book timelines, though, so it's sort of like saying, I don't know. I mean, I'm so used to characters that I care about. In that particular verse, too, they're really bad about it, about them having so many alternate histories and divergent
it's
futures.
not an alternate history. It's from the past. They don't
But that's
create an alternate history by going to the past and then bringing someone to the future.
But they're not the same person, though. I mean, they're the same person, but they're not. That's like saying every Wolverine timeline has led to the Wolverine that, well, I mean, and what is the actual most canonic? Is that a word?
Maybe. Like, okay, if they're actually going to explain that the past X-Men that they brought from the past, if they're actually from an alternate universe, okay, it's not that big of a deal, I guess, but that's really misleading because they never made it seem like that was the goal in the beginning.
Well, you're right.
It's how the character's talking about himself, though. You know what I mean? It just seems very weird the way that he speaks. So that's how I'm taking it to be. And I'm sure it will get explained away in the wash, and really the only thing that matters is the most mainstream version of every character being canon, because they're the ones that go on the merch.
Because there was not a big problem when it was revealed that that one Wolverine who was in Extreme X-Men, that he was gay in a relationship with Hercules. Like, no one really cared. It was just
Yeah, it wasn't a big deal.
Well,
but it wasn't the main comic. It was clear that it was alternate universe and stuff, and there were people who were like, "Oh, this is cool," and then there's a bunch of art about them doing it.
Thinking logically about it, you can't bring somebody if it's from your past. You go to a certain point of your own past. You are still you. You have both experienced the same exact thing, but the now past you is experienced you in the future. That's basically, if they're not going with an alternate universe, they're saying seeing future you made you gay.
Well, maybe they realized that because the way this whole storyline is done, it was always kind of like they have to put them back in the past and erase their minds. If they don't do that, then Harry Beast probably put him off, man. Sorry, somebody just.
I'm pretty sure that homosexuality doesn't work this way. Pretty sure that, it's not experiences. It's just it's just you.
But trying to argue social nuances with comic books, and this is why social justice not social justice, but social justice warriors trying to take over comics and use it as a medium to push an agenda is so funny, because nuanced storytelling and social norms in comics isn't a thing that exists. I mean, it's a much more almost Asian style of storytelling. We don't care about cognizant storylines. If you want to just throw something out there and it's crazy and bizarre and the art is good and the storytelling is good, we'll take it. It doesn't have to make sense. We don't care if it makes sense. We want a good story and pretty art. And so
there are lots of comic book fans like me who want everything to make sense in terms of continuity. That's kind of a thing that some people
comics have to drive you crazy, though.
But
I mean, just seeing the entire Spider-Verse, like, I'm still trying to bog my way through all of it, but
yeah, keep going if you want.
But yeah, but not cognizant, but a structured story telling that's linear and that matches our own social constructs is so hard to tell in comics because we're so used to stories being, oh, this is a one-off, oh, this is this, oh, this is a you. It's all over the place, so that's why it's such a weird medium. It would be like them going, oh, you know what, we should take over anime, because anime doesn't give a crap about linear cognizant storytelling either. It's just like, this is pretty, this is a good story. And pretty, I don't mean pretty like by normal social things, but good art, things that catch the eye.
made.
Yeah, well made. And so it's a weird medium for social justice warriors to be trying to use because we've never had. I mean, look what they did with Gwen Stacy. I mean, we always have weird stuff come up. Not the new
You mean with
storyline where she
Spider-Gwen?
didn't die, but she had no, not Spider-Gwen. But the actual where they had it in Amazing that she didn't die and had babies and did all this stuff. It was very un-Gwen-like. It was almost as if the person never really understood who Gwen was.
Well,
And-
that's a whole different issue with editorial people wanting to push that.
But then it just got swept under the rug and didn't happen. So that's how
That's
comics
another
work.
thing. That's one of the things about comics, especially with the writers. They can just go, okay, this thing happened and everyone hated it. Let's just never really reference it. Like there's a whole issue with was it Angel and Husk, and how there was that one time where that one guy, that really bad writer, was writing Uncanny X-Men, and he had Angel and Husk in this weird relationship, and she's a little too young to be in a relationship with Angel, and they fly up in the air and have sex right above, like up in the sky above her mother. And it's just like, who let this happen? Was everyone drunk? And no one's ever referenced that storyline ever again. And there was other things. That guy's whole run was basically pretty much ignored.
And that's comics. So that seems like a weird way, especially with things as subtle and nuanced as sexuality, to try and use comics to push that agenda. I've commented about this sort of stuff on the Mary Sue. I think I'm banned there now, but that it's a weird medium to use to push social agenda because fans will just go, oh, this is poop, and then the storyline moves on and it's like it never happened. Or, oh, we didn't really mean that, that was AU. So it's weird. It's a weird medium to use for that.
Yeah. Max, what are your thoughts?
Oh, no, sorry.
Oh, Max.
No, you know me. I'm not comic books. That's not my thing.
I know. I'm just like, I'm viewing you as an outsider to all this, like a complete outsider to what
But
we're
like making him gay,
Yeah, just like because.
it's totally, it's so id. It's id. It's tokenism. It's stupid. It wasn't needed. It's just. Yeah, I mean, it's just a bad way to appeal to a different audience,
Yeah. Matt.
which will
Matta,
probably not read it anyway.
Matta Batsker P said X2's scene where Iceman's mother does that "Have you tried not being a mutant?" was a pretty good job at a certain other question in the same vein. That I always hated that scene because it was so nonsensical. Like the whole mutants being is like being gay. That always just seems so honestly kind of insulting to gay people because it's acting like there is a reason why you should be afraid of gay people. There's a reason why you should be afraid of mutants. Because there's mutant terrorists.
Where did everybody go?
What?
Where did Rachel go?
Did she leave?
I'm here. I'm just listening. I'm just
But
listening.
yeah, like I've
But,
always
you
felt like mutants made more sense as like sort of like connecting with autism because I'm autistic and I tell everyone that. Because autistic people, there is a case that we can be dangerous in a sense that, especially people who aren't high functioning, that you have to be careful with us because we don't really know what's going on sometimes. And we have meltdowns and we can be violent, but our violence is not intentional to hurt people. We're just we don't understand what's going on sometimes. But that that's not really the point of that, but it's more, autistic people are basically mutants. We're different from everyone else. We can't just fit
hear
in.
you.
So,
People fear what they don't understand, and that's the whole thing. It's yeah.
and then there was the
Pretty much.
cure for the mutant storyline, and there are people who are actually trying to create a cure for autism. So they originally was about racism at the very beginning, with racism and mutant hate is the same, and it was like an analogy for that, and it kind of moved on to homosexuality or being gay or whatever. Then I feel like they need to move on beyond that and actually try to make it an analogy for autism or something, or like other like a neurodivergent things like a. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing about social justice. I mean,
They're not movies.
they really aren't as self-aware, or maybe they are. It's hard to know, and all this. But basically, they keep pushing the same thing over and over again until you're ready to choke on it. And then the moment you say, "Okay, I've had enough. You can't. Please don't shove any more in my throat. I can't. I'm going to fucking drown in it." They'll be like, "Oh, you're just hateful, and that's why. That's why you don't like us shoving all of this down there. That's why you're not going to be happy to drown in it all." That's.
And there's just this massive push
It's
to.
cringy.
Yeah.
It's cringy. It's like painful. It's painfully obvious. I'm like, we get it. Gay people are not well liked by everyone, especially people who might be in certain parts of the rural South, or just in certain pockets of areas, of intolerance. Yes, that is totally a thing. We get it. It's there, and we're sad that it's there. But yeah.
And there's a difference between social justice and this crazy mutant of it that people use online. Haha, I worked mutant in my sentence. Because there is social justice is important. It is a thing, and it is something that I think everybody universally could agree on. I mean, nobody wants people to be hated just for existing, right? So, but what people do online, keyboard warriors and keyboard activists and stuff do is very different than actual social justice.
Well, like real social justice is really just helping people out within your community. It's not going to the government and demanding that all the laws be changed.
Or even thinking beyond your own area. I mean, that's a lot of the social justice that I take part in is global activism and things like that, because the world is much bigger than the things that just make my feels hurt online.
Yeah. I think that a lot of the X-Men, if you look at it, it's very parabolistic. When you make an analogy of just being different, and you're not even talking about, hey, world, this is how you see people that are different. It's more, I think it really should focus the story on, hey, you, single viewer, this is how you might see the world and different people, as in their differences from you. And I think that it should not focus on just one spectrum, like being gay, being a different race, or anything. I think it should basically encompass the broad spectrum of anybody who is different at all, in some way, form, or fashion. It can include all of those.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to focus on one way that somebody is different and then try to write a parable about that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really think that that's the way the original authors meant it to be, but I might be wrong.
Yeah. And there's this massive push to like just put so many gay characters within comics, just like anytime, like just put one in here, put one in there. That sounded.
Well, it's not just with
gross,
homosexuality. It's with any of the areas that show the most visible diversity, and I've had this conversation before. They only care about what is the most visible in their mind in terms of diversity. It's never things as much as diversity of thought, or people who might pass as another race, like who might pass as white. They don't care about those things. They don't care about all of the little mini subgroups. They're like, we want what is most visibly diverse. Like,
I was gonna say that.
Like, we need to.
They push like. We need to have all this, like, the gay characters, and there's so many gay characters within the Marvel Universe. Technically, Anderson Cooper is part of the Marvel Universe.
What?
Actually, on like the wiki, like if you type in Marvel Gate,
Serious?
isn't it? He's part of the 616
Oh,
universe. But there's so many in there, and they keep trying to do other ones like not Grant Morrison.
This question.
What?
Can I ask a question? Are there any trans characters?
I think there might be like a couple.
No, there is.
Yeah.
I'd have to ask. This isn't my scope of knowledge, but my kiddo would know because I know there are in a few of the comics that she reads. She doesn't really read superhero books though so much.
Well,
That's
there
not her
are
thing.
transgender characters in comic books. There's just not a very.
I'm asking about the Marvel Universe because.
Yeah, there might be like a couple.
That's good. We'll see.
But there's plenty within Vertigo.
Well,
Yeah, there's definitely
Everything
Vertigo.
goes in Vertigo.
Well, in a video games as well. I mean, it's not. It seems like with our Western culture is a little bit more like, oh my God, about it. But yeah, in video it's a lot more accepted and around.
Yeah.
But,
And note the characters
let's
can't.
just get to the point I was trying to make.
Sure.
Okay, so they're pushing for all that, and then there's like technically there's only 4 autistic characters within comic books. One of them is from a now defunct. Is that the right word? Yeah, defunct imprint of Marvel's, and then another one is from like a manga. So that's technically not really like in the traditional sense of comic books. Another one is Black Manta, and he's a villain who is cured of his autism by Aquaman. And then I think there might be like one other one. Oh, one other one, but it's Charles Xavier's son, the one who like has massive superpowers, and he's not even autistic. They just keep labeling him that because at one point they thought he was autistic. And so there's no push for that. There's no push for autistic characters. I've actually confronted Gail Simone about it on Twitter. Kind of, I did confront Scott Ailey, the main guy at Dark Horse Comics, about like, do you think there will ever be an autistic character within the Buffy comics? Because it was kind of in response to them doing the gay male Slayer who wasn't really a Slayer, and he was just somehow able to do like slay vampires because Gary Stu. But yeah, I asked them about it, and they didn't have really anything to say, and it was like, oh. And I actually ended up realizing I have an autistic character within my comic book, Gene Hyde. I didn't really realize it at the time, but yeah, there's no push for that, and autistic people, there's plenty of us who really like comic books, but it's not like we have a problem with not seeing characters that represent us. We like the comic books, but there's no push for it. None.
So Moet says gay first, reasons later. I think that is the shortest, sweetest analogy that anyone has ever come up with.
Yeah.
Well, and any kind of diverse or quote-unquote, I'm doing air quotes and you guys can't see them, perceived as marginalized character has to be presented in the best light possible at this point, is how it really starts to feel like. I have been watching way more TV lately than I should be. It's not good for me, but I've been watching this TV show called The Following, and I was honestly really excited because they have a non-white serial killer as our primary
and the latest one?
this season. Yeah,
Really?
he's brilliant. He's great. He's extremely tech savvy. He's everything you want a modern day bad guy to be. But nobody's talking about how wonderful that it's not a white dude, because it's a scary character. And I was super thrilled because stereotypically we view serial killers and all of these things as traditionally white, often middle to lower middle class, and all of these things. So
agenda that they're pushing, but yeah.
But this is something that nobody's like championing this character, even though he's breaking down social stereotypes, because he's bad.
The thing about being black is that that's not really a stereotype. I mean, most serial killers are in their 30s and Caucasian. Like, if you just look at the stats.
Well, I'm not even sure. I'm not sure what the guy's ethnicity is because he changes facial structure from scene to scene. So I'm like trying to not assume because it's part of the great thing about the actor is that I don't know what the character is supposed to be because his facial structure, I can't follow it.
I think he's black or something. He was in
The last episode he looked like Sudanese, so I wasn't sure. He changes really fast. He's great.
He might be a mixture of different races. That's not that uncommon.
But yeah, I thought it was great.
The show about the future where he's a robot, and that didn't last. Yeah, there are 4 trans characters in Marvel.
Oh, that's cool.
Drake from 616, Zavin, who technically he's only trans because he's a Skrull, so he can change his body type and apparently gender, and he does it because the girl that he was supposed to marry is lesbian, and so he wants to be able to have a relationship with her, so he has to become female. It was very awkward.
That seems awkward.
It was in the Runaways comics.
Oh yeah, that's the kiddo.
Yeah. And then apparently, like on Earth 1045, at one point Daredevil underwent an operation that made her. That's what it says in this thing that I'm looking at. But apparently there was a Daredevil that was transgender, and then there was a Moloid, one of the mole people, the people that the Mole Man kind of enslaves or something, or they worship him. I can't remember. That's also transgender. It was.
Things got so dorky in here, really.
But yeah, I put a link in our group chat.
Things got really nerdy here. Maybe we should go to the next topic because I think we've gone as far as we can go.
Yes.
Yeah, the next thing we've got, and it actually kind of leads in really well when we're talking about homosexuality in Marvel Comics. We're actually going to talk about how to stay, frosty in the face of, I guess, hatred, or actually, yeah, how to stay
positive
in the face of salty.
Did you say frosty? This got really. That was really punny there, Darkstar.
How to get frosty butts in the face of AGG.
Forgive me.
Is that okay?
That's not just cool. It's ice
So,
cool.
how do you stay frosty butts at AGG?
Well, let's start out where each of us says in like a sentence or two how we do it. Does everyone want me to go first?
Yeah, I'll give you
How we stay positive in the face of
how we stay positive when when aggros are like pouring salt on everything, anything we do. Did I go first? Because I kind of already know. I'll go first. You guys aren't telling me if I should.
You should go first.
Okay.
Go, Audrey, let's go.
When I see all the salt, I kind of like, yeah, this doesn't really matter in the long run. And I crack jokes on Twitter, or I just post otter pictures, or one of the funnest things to do is to just screen cap the salt and make fun of it. And that's all I can really do. Yeah.
I always just ask who they are. I'm like, who are you?
Oh, like piss them off.
Well, yeah. Well, and honestly, sometimes they say stuff, and I'm like, okay, but who are you? Like, why is what you're saying right now relevant, and why are you trying to tell other people how they need to view the world around them? Because it's really easy and really quick in like a tweet or two to see the hypocrisy in what they're saying. So it's just kind of like, okay, well, you're not the creator, and you're trying to bully artists, so you are what you hate. Have an awesome day. Thanks so much for participating. And then I kind of, swim off to do other things. But it's usually, when people are nasty or saying something that's just really just stupid, they're generally emulating, or not even emulating. I mean, they are being supposedly what they fight against and trying to crush creativity, crush free speech, crush diversity. And it's so fast to turn it around on them.
Basically,
and
why can't I hold all this projection?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. Why can't I hold all this projection?
But it's funny, there was a woman who's a big Cap America fangirl earlier who was all upset about the Black Widow being called a whore, and I'm like, do you know what a Black Widow is?
Well, we can save that and talk about that later.
But it was just she was upset, and she wasn't even upset about what was said. She was upset with herself, and it was so quick to see. So when people tweet nasty stuff, or when Lifshitz does something silly, or any of these guys do something silly, it's really easy to just go, "Oh wow, you really hate yourself." Like, wow, have a good day.
Okay. Dexter.
I could go. I mean, I guess. I keep in mind that, there are just some people who are mean-spirited, and they've got some crap in their lives that they need to fucking work through. And I take that into account when I'm looking at all of the salt that they're spreading around everywhere. I mean, you'd think that they were trying to clean out a driveway with the amount of salt that they're throwing everywhere. And my immediate thought is to, instead of getting upset, try and distance myself a little bit and then think about what's really going on. It's like, look beyond what is going on here, what is happening. Why might they be saying that? So, and I just, I don't know, I just kind of go into this weird calm. It's strange. I don't know how to explain it. Sometimes I'll get upset, but then I say to myself, nope, stop for a moment, think about what you're doing, and if it's not worth it, it's not worth it. And what I do to cheer myself up in all this is I just hang around with people that I care about who are really supportive. I do the things that I like, and I try not to let it get me down. And there are moments where things do get me down, and it's really, really bad. But knowing that there are other people out there who also get me and are probably going through the same stuff, kind of helps. And I try to reach out to them. Say, you're not alone in these feelings, it's okay. So, I guess does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Sure.
Max, you want to go, or?
Sure.
Okay.
Well, I do get enraged by their stupidity every now and then, but I try to think, these are just some vocal minorities, as in, there are many, many more smarter people out there who aren't these big idiots who just scream at the top of their lungs.
Mm-hmm.
I just like to think, well, it ain't that bad. They're just being idiots. And if it's really bad, well, then I just go shitpost for fun. If it's really bad, I talk to Michael, who he's an optimist and a humanist, in the sense that he can always get the positive out of things. So that's how I deal with it. I try to see the reality of things. There are many, many people out there.
Fiction.
Huh?
You also write erotic fiction.
Erotic fiction
me too.
for fun. Yeah, but it's not really erotic fiction primarily. It's more
You
like
know what I'm talking about.
Yeah,
It's fan fiction?
It's fan fiction.
It's friend fiction, like what's her name on Bob Burgers.
Maybe I need to go more involved and finish that Tim Schafer and his sock puppet fanfic where and their love affair. I think I kind of want to have it so that the sock puppet is windswept on a beach and just those googly eyes shining in the light of the sunset.
Okay, Darkstar, you next.
Well, I don't know that I'm very representative of the group. I'm a little bit more antagonistic when it comes to it. I really don't see things as necessarily positive or have to stay positive because I really don't give two shits about most people's opinion. For example, the other day, there was a guy who just posted a meme to me. It said, "You should kill yourself." And I was like, what do you have to come back with that? So what did I do? I just posted I posted a picture of a toddler eating a crayon. I had nothing to really come back with, but I felt like I had to, and I see most social justice warriors. I see most social justice warriors as toddlers eating a crayon. I mean, I see them as locals. Anybody.
Oh my God, that was beautiful. Dude,
anybody who is salty is a potential locale. I love locales.
I don't generally react to them. I just try to stay positive by taking
I just watch it.
I
just sit back and watch what's going to happen because you know that somebody who is losing their shit that much is eventually just basically they're just digging a hole for themselves deeper and deeper, and all you can do is just sit back and watch. Well, I mean, of course you could get involved, but you're going to look like an asshole because that's the way that they're going to portray everything. They're going to be like, oh, look, you're attacking me. Oh, I'm a poor innocent victim. But if you just sit back and watch it all unfold, they will just continue to dig that hole deeper and deeper and shoot themselves in the foot. It's just... I'm going to say a lot of these people are not completely... I'm not going to say that they're not right in the head. I'm going to say that they have a lot of emotional problems. And it's very obvious that a good portion of them do, and they need to sort that stuff out. Now, any rational human being who cared about these people, any real friend would say, please, for the love of God, do not tweet or have an online presence when you're going through this crap. But apparently no one says that to them. No one says, like, seriously, don't do that. That looks bad on you. And it makes me wonder what kind of friends that they have, if it's really just these kinds of surface relationships. Because if it was me, I would want someone to say, Rachel, you're being really fucking salty. What the hell are you doing right now? Go handle your shit and then come back later. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's what friends do, and no one's stopping them. No one's saying, seriously, this does not look good upon you.
Mm-hmm.
Now, always remember, there are many, many more good people out there. You just don't hear them. They're not as vocal as the idiots.
Friends don't let friends shit post on Twitter, okay? when they're going through shit.
I think we have a question or a comment.
I posted it in the group chat in Google.
The shit posting is therapeutic.
It would be for Rachel.
Okay.
Starting with Monsieur Blank Chat. I'll just read it. Even if the Badgers were not going to sue, it would definitely be advisable to make some noise towards the mayor's office. Calgary is financially supported by Calgary Expo is financially supported by Calgary City, so a diplomatic incident caused by it turning out that CE is possible got I don't want to read this.
Okay, we're aware of a lot of the stuff that's been going on, and I can tell you guys right now that we have been watching all of this stuff unfold. Well, I mean, I'm home right now in the wonderful state of South Carolina, and if you come to stalk me, like, it's not going to do much. I mean, what are you going to find, really? I'll be like, oh, hello, come in. I'll give you some tea, I guess. I don't know. Anyway, but seriously, though, we know all of this stuff. We're handling the situation. We definitely are not taking this lying down, like I've said before, over Twitter. We are currently looking through all of the different avenues. I can't really give you more information than that, but we are doing stuff. So when we're in a better position to tell you what we're doing, I can then maybe speak upon that, but right now, not so much.
Yeah, I didn't really think it would say a whole lot, but I thought...
We are aware of all of these things, though. We are aware that Calgary, the Calgary Expo is funded by partially by public money. We are aware that all these, that they've violated several human rights that are supposed to be given by the Canadian government. We are aware that we probably have a case for libel, all of these different things. We're completely aware of all of these things, and I thought maybe if I just let you guys know, it'll help with some of your questions. But yeah, we are looking into all of these possibilities, all of these options. I can't really speak on it more than that, unfortunately, because I don't speak for all of Badgers, and certainly not for Allison. So.
Okay, well, thank you. Thanks, Rachel. Speaking of saltiness and Allison, let's talk about Mark Wade and Allison.
Oh gosh.
Should we pull it up and then have somebody read it, or have like two of us read it?
Maybe we can do a dramatic reading. I don't know.
Yeah, let me find an archive, a good archive of it.
Yeah.
You guys, somebody start talking about it while I do that. Like, Rachel, you were kind of following what was going on, right?
Yeah, a little bit.
He's an asshole.
Yeah, he is.
The reason why he opposed us, I mean, you know, she's not going to take anybody's shit, and so I think somebody must have told her that this was one of the guys who, you know, opposed us at the expo and stuff like that. A lot of things were said apparently about us being at the expo, but and I'm saving that for the show that's going to be later at 9, which I'm going to get to after the show. But yeah, so she basically was questioning him like saying, why were you in support of me being ejected? And he was like, oh, I certainly was not in support of you being forcibly ejected and intimidated the way that you were. And she's like, well, I don't know. It got a little bit, yeah. There was a little.
I'm trying to find out. Okay, come on, where is it?
But basically, ultimately you understood what his bias was because he believes that Gamergate is a hate group based in misogyny, and that the reason why all of us have invested so much time and energy is because at our core we're deeply misogynistic, and you know we can't stand women in gaming, and that's really the thing, and
okay,
the rest of us have just been sucked into it.
I found it. So I'll be Mark Wade, and Rachel, do you want to be Allison?
Oh my god! Oh shit! This is gonna
Why
be
not the
interesting.
other way around?
I'm a man.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I mean, why don't we
Oh,
just
okay,
shout
it'll
some
be
traditional
funnier.
gender norms? We'll
Yeah,
shout-
it'll be funny if I'm Alex. Okay, Rachel, you be Mark Wade, okay?
Okay, I gotta wait. I'm waiting for this to load first. Okay,
Okay.
give me a moment.
Give me more moments, more, please, more.
I gotta turn on my lamp too. Hold on. Oh, damn it! Why did I unplug?
You're turning on your lamp to see your computer screen?
Well, it's getting dark over here because you are on the west coast, Otter. I am on the east coast. That is how far away we are. Isn't it
I
sad?
know.
So go on.
Did you
Go on.
get up one?
Yes,
Okay.
it's up. It's up.
Dot at Mark Wade. I'm the woman Calgary Expo kicked out. Do you support women in comics or only ones who submit to your views of women? Hashtag Gamergate.
At Typhon Blue. That's a very cynical, snarky-ass way of asking, and you know it. Try again? Question mark?
Dot Mark Wade. Sorry for being uppity. Do you support women in comics that don't agree with your views on women?
At Typhon Blue. Yay! Extra snark! Do you automatically get a pass for being rude just because you're a woman? Sweet deal, if so.
Mark Wade. Do you support women in comics that agree with your views on women? Or that don't agree with your views on women?
At Typhon Blue. Always have. Not stopping now.
Mark Wade. Then why did you support me being thrown out of Calgary Expo?
At Typhon Blue. I specifically said I wasn't telling anyone you shouldn't have a booth, only I wouldn't feel comfortable going to.
At Mark Wade. Why would you feel uncomfortable? I'm a 5-foot woman. Why would you support me being intimidated by security as I was ejected?
At Typhon Blue. You are presuming I would support you being deliberately intimidated. Huge stretch.
Just to make it clear, that's when he does a period response, like a period at Typhon Blue response.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. At period at Mark Wade. Kudos to the Calgary Expo for escorting lying bullies out of the con. That was in quotes.
Yeah. At Typhon Blue. You know what? I'd forgotten. I did say that. I'll own it, though. But I can't understand why you wouldn't see yourself as such. What? It's a TSE. I have no idea what the fuck that is.
I don't think he had enough space. At Mark Wade. Why do you believe I'm a lying bully?
At Typhon Blue. That said, now that I've heard more, I don't think you guys were bullies per se, but I despise your group's cause.
At Mark Wade. And our group's cause is?
At Typhon Blue. It's harassing
No, that was from somebody else. That's not that important.
Yeah, I know.
But that was when he was trying to get other people, his massive amount of followers, to come in and be snarky asses to.
Yeah, and after that, like he admitted that he's like, these people don't understand Gamergate's origins, and I said, you know, the origins are in media dishonesty, and it really is. It's it happened after all of the censorship. Maybe people were a little bit skeptical when the whole Zoe thing broke, and we're like, okay, whatever, we don't really care about fucking Zoe Quinn. But then everybody went and censored people talking about it, period.
Yeah.
And of course, that's really what happened. And then there was all the articles that came out, calling for, like, the death of gamers, basically. They're saying, oh, gamers are dead, and they don't have to be your audience, and all this.
Did you ever respond to what you tweeted at him?
Well, what I haven't gone back to it yet. I might, but what I tweeted at him after that, when he basically said that Gamergate was basically a hate group, its origins were in misogyny. I told him, I said, your logical fallacy is the genetic fallacy, where you're arguing that something is automatically wrong because of where it came from. So even if we were some kind of hateful misogynists, it wouldn't mean that we couldn't. Wait. It wouldn't mean that we weren't right about media censorship.
Mm-hmm.
It wouldn't mean that there wasn't a possibility that we could be correct.
The best way to respond to a comment like that, though, is saying, well, Gamergate's origins are in misogyny. You just go, well, feminism's origins were in racism.
Well,
oops.
Okay, well, there's another thing. I also said, called them on his appeal to authority, because a lot of these people, what they're doing is they're saying, well, because the media reported and said that Gamergate was this way, therefore it must be so.
Mm-hmm.
Even though we're criticizing the media, and we're basically saying that, these people are censoring, these people are misrepresenting what we're really like. Yeah, who knew that maybe that a movement that is criticizing the media would then get run through the mud by the media? I mean, who knew? But yeah. Go on.
People will know who Mark Waid is. He's called like the busiest man in comics. He currently writes Daredevil, which had a line about dare-splaining.
What?
Yeah, it's weird, but yeah.
That's really
He's also
cool.
going to be writing the all different Avengers comic with female Thorn, which I like to call her, Muslim Miss Marvel. That's so bad. Black Spider-Man.
Actually, he's Black Hispanic.
Well, whatever.
Miles Morales, okay? God damn it, get it right.
And
shit, Lord.
it's also going to have Vision and Iron Man in it, because Iron Man is popular. And then, yeah, but there's
See, now it's all the colors of the rainbow, and
yeah,
we'll think that everybody's going to be happy, but wait, there'll probably be some kind of controversy that'll erupt, and then people will be pissed all over again.
Well,
they're never satisfied.
He's known for being a pissy bitch. He likes to get into fights with people about dumb things. He's known for being a jerk, apparently. Oh, and anyways, so he writes Daredevil. He wrote Flash at one point. He's basically worked on all the major characters. He had a really good run of Fantastic Four. I honestly think he's a good writer. Usually, I think he's a very good writer, and he deserves the awards that he's gotten, at least in the past. But he's a massive asshole.
And a rabbit.
Until recently, but yeah, he's worked on a lot of stuff, and he has an important position at Boom Comics. I can't remember what it is. Let me look it up real quick. Boom Studios is what it is. Yeah, he has an important position there, and he's actually like spoken out about being supportive of new comic book people that are like doing it on their own at the beginning. And it's like, you're saying, you say that, and then you talk to Allison like this. She does the art and writing for her comic, and you just write. And it was just so condescending with what he was saying to her. And then he says that he claims that he supports women that disagree with him, but doesn't support her. It feels so good on my skin.
It's further than just a misunderstanding. It's just not willing to admit that he is doing wrong.
Yeah. Like somebody ended up making a comment.
So good on my skin.
That's like a line from Cougar Town.
It's no longer like being misinformed and just malevolence.
Well, like somebody made a really apt comment on Twitter last night in reference to that. It's like the true any true misogynist man would most likely be a feminist so that he could get away with talking to women like that and not have to deal with repercussions from feminists. Because like Allison doesn't agree with feminism, so it's okay for him to talk to her like that. But if he talked to Sam Meggs like that, ooh, that would be bad. So we're not necessarily saying that that's what he's like, but like a real misogynist would most likely.
It would be a really great cover for you,
feminism,
to be honest. But it's.
Yeah.
If you really were the kind of person who really did treat a woman like an object or something like that, yeah, or you were just interested in dating women in these different nerdy industries, yeah, that would be a perfect fucking cover for you. Because then you could be like, oh, I care so much about the plight of women. And they're like, really? Yeah, I'm totally listening to everything that you're saying.
Okay, Max, he said that he needs to go to sleep.
Yeah,
so
he does.
Say goodbye.
Sleep. Sleep.
Good night.
Sleep,
Good night,
sleep.
Max.
Sweet dreams.
Okay. Anyways, Darkstar, do you have any comments on the thing with Mark Wade? Darkstar?
Darkstar.
Uh-oh. Maybe you had to go to the bathroom.
Okay.
What about you, Remy?
Sorry, I had to step out for a bit.
Oh, okay. Are you coming back now?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, Darkstar. Any thoughts on the Mark Wade stuff?
Well, in my opinion, whenever you say that you support women in anything, it's a slippery slope because you then have to support all women, no matter what they're doing. Doesn't matter if they agree with you. You cannot then say you cannot say I support women in X, Y, or Z, and then say I even support women who disagree with me, but then put in caveat those few things that you disagree with, and say I don't support these people.
I think it's better to say like I'm in support of women's rights, but I mean I think it's the core human rights that I support. I mean if you're somebody who suffers, who are constantly talking about like microaggressions and shits like that, and that you feel that you have a right to not be offended, I think that's bullshit. But I do definitely support, human rights for women, the basic core human rights that I think everybody is entitled to.
Dealing in that situation when you were talking about microaggressions, most people didn't know what microaggressions were until a few months ago.
Yeah.
And whenever you have to tell somebody, whenever you have to point 80% of the group and explain to them why something is sexist, misogynist, racist, or something, odds are you're not going to get that message across for very long because 80% of people are just not going to see it or care.
Yeah.
And even if you do say you get 80% of people believing at one time, you still have to keep explaining it to why it's racist or why it's sexist or why it's misogynistic. You can't do that. You're just
okay. Here's the thing I would say if someone says like they have the right to not be offended. I'll say this. I'll say something like freedom of speech or the right to not be offended. Pick one. You can't have both. You really can't. You really can't.
The only way that you can not be offended is if you are both blind and have no way to communicate. That's the only way you can not be offended 100% of the time.
Yeah, and the thing is that what happens here is, to have freedom of speech, that means that you have a whole bunch of different people from different backgrounds, which are all voicing their opinions and all have the ability to voice their opinions. And that's why I'm saying you simply cannot have both. Because if you're saying, well, I have a right to not be offended, what you're saying is that, well, you know, I'm going to say that this person doesn't have the ability or doesn't have the right to speak.
You're also
or
being
voice their opinion.
incredibly entitled. When you say I have a
Yeah.
right to not be offended, that means you're expecting the rest of the fucking world to walk on eggshells for you.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't think that that's a core human right. I think, you know, part of being human is having to deal with the fact that there are other people who are different and that you need to learn to get along and handle things as an adult. You know, handle things, your interactions with people that are based around the fact that you guys are all different.
Well, the where the right comes in is you have the right to be able to go somewhere else or not listen to
Yeah, there you go.
speaking.
No, here is an idea. Being offended is a human right. You have the right to be offended.
It's ultimately your choice to be offended.
You're right, but what I was actually saying was that if you are going to talk about rights, then you have
Yeah.
the right to be able to take yourself away from the situation.
This is
Nobody
true.
can force you to stay there.
Mm-hmm.
But that does not negate the person who's speaking and their right to speak.
Absolutely. I totally agree with you, for sure. If someone's saying something you don't agree with, walk away. It's that simple. If someone's saying some shit to you online, go to another website or
Well,
block them or whatever.
A lot of these people, when they get the idea that they want to ban you from doing your speech or whatever, they're no longer being offended by what you're having to say. They're offended that you are getting your voice in, which is totally different than the whole being offended thing. They're offended at the idea that you're getting your opinion to other people, not just them, but to other people.
Yeah. Let's try to bring it back to Mark Waid again.
Okay.
Remy, do you have any thoughts on the whole Mark Waid and Allison thing?
Not really. I think he's a derp. I don't engage with derp. So
Yeah,
I think I have him blocked. So
Do you read
Yeah.
any of his comics?
no, I do not. I do not. I'm big on when I buy any form of media, I support my own views and my own politics with what I spend my money on, and he doesn't get my money.
Like,
Yeah.
for me, like with my political and religious beliefs, it's kind of hard to be able to do that because otherwise I'd barely be able to buy anything. But and with Mark Waid, I don't actually give him money because I don't really buy any of his stuff new. I usually buy it used, sometimes for like $2 on Amazon.
That's about what it's worth.
So
There you go.
he did do Kingdom Come, but anyways, it's weird because like he's gotten into fights with like J. Michael Krasinski or whatever that guy's name,
Yeah.
over like an editor that Mark Waid was like, oh, anybody who says bad things about him, I'll kick your butt or something, and
I challenge you on.
Oh gosh.
it's just
I mean-
really
Oh
embarrassing.
gosh, I challenge you on horseback. What?
Like I think I read I
That
don't
was a thing that actually happened?
something like that. There's this one editor
I
and
challenge you on horseback. Like a literal white knight. Oh
it
my
was
God.
something about Comic Book Resources, the website, I think, and there were people who were saying stuff bad about him. He's like, oh, I can't remember. It was weird. It's just there's this one article in the Outhouse or something. Yeah, JMS did a really long career on Amazing Spider-Man that was ruined by Joe Quesadilla. I know that's not his name, but I don't care. He made bad decisions.
Well, I
But yeah, Mark Waid is just he's known for being a butthole
I
apparently.
don't know much about him, but I do know what's going on a little bit behind the scenes right now.
This is interesting though. He actually dated Devin Grayson, the person who recently was interviewed by
Really?
Alliance and said, "Oh yeah, Nightwing is sexy," and I
The
don't.
woman,
even
the
like
woman
her.
who basically raped Wayne, basically.
Yeah, she basically raped the character when she was writing Nightwing, and she apparently changed her last name to Grayson.
It's a bit creepy, her obsession. I'm gonna say, really, I'm gonna call it right now. It's really, oh god, it's fucking creepy because she creates a Mary Sue to rape Nightwing. She changes her last name to Grayson. Oh my god, it's so fucking. Ooh.
It's weird, but he apparently dated her. They actually worked on like an issue of, like wrote I think maybe a run of GLA or something. I can't remember. But yeah, that's the kind of.
John Deere much? I mean, shit.
It's
like
just
you've been
weird.
looking at Nightwing. That's unacceptable.
It's funny though, because on Mark Wade's Wikipedia page, that's the only thing that's under personal in his bio stuff. The personal, dated Devin Grayson one time. But yeah, it's weird.
Oh gosh.
Anyways.
But yeah, I don't know what's going on with Allison right now. I haven't talked to her since I left, which was day before yesterday. So and she drove us to the airport and everything. But you know, I think she's okay. I think she is trying to hold some of these people accountable, and you know, it's kind of a situation where people say, you know, you should never meet your heroes, and in this case, for people in Gamergate, they're seeing a lot of people that they had looked up to and finding out that they're complete assholes. But I'm glad to say we had the opposite effect when people came to meet us at Calgary. You know, we chilled with them. We had no problems hanging out with everybody. Invited them back to the place we were staying. Even shared alcoholic beverages, things like that. So it was fun.
So that kind of ties in with the next topic, right, Darkstar?
HBR in Tokyo.
Oh gosh. Well, I can tell you right now that I've watched the video. I've sent the link to other people. So most of the Badgers are informed. I have no idea if Allison has seen it yet. But you know, I personally would be thrilled to go, but like I said, I can't do anything without the other Badgers. I can't, and right now we're going to, you know, decide whether or not we're going to get back with him or not. But like I said, Allison doesn't know yet.
What if couldn't you just go on your own if the other ones?
No. I'm not. No, fuck that shit. No, I'm not gonna go on my own. I am not gonna leave like Dr. Randomcam and Sage and Brian and all those people
What if just
behind.
like like do you all have to go or?
I don't know. Well, the thing is, we haven't even spoken with the guy who has made the offer. But I gotta tell you, like, just hearing about it made some of us come a little. It's like, not me, but like, well, I did a little bit of fangirl screaming, but yeah, I don't know if we will accept the offer. I can't really speak definitively on that because that's not.
But if it was your decision, you'd accept.
Did they offer?
I might consider, but the thing about it is that I think the way that we are and the way that we know that we are, we probably, you know, want to limit the amount that we cost because we know things like trips to Tokyo are incredibly expensive. We probably choose to stay with him like he offered or something like that, or raise some of the money ourselves because we just wouldn't feel we probably wouldn't feel right putting him out.
So did they offer to pay for airfare?
I think so. I think that's what was. I think that was what was offered. I think it was offered to all of the Badgers who were there. But like I said, we're still gonna look into that and find out all of the ins and outs because
you got to make sure it's verified.
Yeah, we got to verify. So I'm excited, but I want to verify first.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I've always dreamed of going to Japan at least once. So yeah, and if I was to do it with if I was with the other Badgers, that would be icing on the cake. You have no idea because it's really great hanging out with all of them. They're all fun people, but then just the fangirl screaming that would come from like Brian and Sage would just be beautiful, and me. But I don't know if that will ever happen. But you know what? That would be really, really cool, I think. Or even any kind of travel to another country. People have suggested things like crazy things like Sweden, and we're like, no,
That's scary.
That's like suicide. It's like, they're like, "Are you ever gonna go to Sweden, Badgers?" And we're like, "I like life."
Let's also mention the other thing in case people haven't watched the video, which we should probably link somehow to at some point. He also said that apparently Tokyo, not Tokyo, Japan, they've been really quiet about it, but they really do not like these people like Anis Sarkeesian and all these people basically constantly ragging on Japanese culture but not like just coming out right out and saying it, except for that one time with Anita.
Oh god, that the comment about bombing them back to traditional values was so, oh Jesus, fucking Christ.
But yeah, like they've really been just waiting to say something, and apparently I think Tokyo Game Show will now be. This is a way we'll be able to verify if anything he said was really true. They'll supposedly be making a statement on something involving all that kind of those issues on their website, maybe, or press release. I'm not sure, but everyone who worked at the Calgary Expo is banned from coming there for apparently like 3 years. That's
wow, that would be crazy. Yeah, that's something. I gotta say, I was really like just freaking out a little while, like just hearing the very prospect of going there, and the Tokyo Game Show is just, oh shit. But like I said, I'm not, Allison is the one who manages a lot of things, and Allison is the one who probably have the final say, and all the other main Badgers would have the final say on all this, and we're probably gonna investigate, find out, verify if this is, legit, and we'll go from there. So, yeah.
Yeah, Chief Lakota. Rachel, you really do live up to the naughty nerdist name.
Yes, I do. Why? What do you mean? What specifically?
I don't know. Maybe it was the comment about how you all came a little bit.
Well, yeah, kind of. Yeah. Well, I mean, shit. I've said this before on my blog. Okay, I'm not the I wouldn't say nice. Well, I am kind of nice. I am kind of cuddly, but the naughty in the name is because I'm kind of I like hentai and all of these dirty things, and I've written filthy fan fiction and the like. So yeah. Yeah, I enjoy writing smut. So yeah, I'm a dirty girl.
So yeah.
And I'm a nerd, so there you go, hence the name.
So Dark Star, you wanna? Is there anything else?
Well, looks like Mark Kern tweeted out quite a few hours ago that Ben Kuchera is actually not going to be writing in the game section any longer for Polygon.
Wow.
Ben said this a while ago.
It was actually, well, what he said was he may not be. He's taking a break.
They all say that shit. That's how they're quietly leaving.
But yeah, he didn't actually leave until like recently. Also, Kotaku has claimed that there was and are ethics issues that need to be looked at.
Was this in the comments of the Calgary Expo article on Kotaku?
I don't think so.
Something that happened.
Like I said, this is coming from a tweet from Mark Kern.
Both of those issues?
Yes.
Okay, let's look at them. Oops, I typed in @Mark Kern, and there's a picture of a dog.
They all said they're trying to take a break to focus on other things, but really that means they're quietly leaving, or someone asked them to leave, or they're quietly resigning. They're like, oh, I'm just going to work. I mean, it's the same shit that you're going to see with the rest of the people who have been involved at the heart of all this and who have become a liability.
Right, they can't just say something really shitty and get fired right away.
Yeah, they got to do it quietly for PR purposes because they were in the heart of all of this shit. So it's got to be, oh well, I'm going to work on other things, and this is just the right choice for me right now, and you've been fucking fired. That's just trying to. They're trying to downplay what really happened as much as humanly possible.
Mm-hmm.
It's really what's going on. I mean.
So yeah, we're actually doing some good, especially with Kotaku itself saying that they need to revise their ethics issues.
Yeah, and you can expect to see more of these people who were very, very unethical and bullying and stuff on Twitter, and who were involved in all of these different media. Sorry, I'm a little bit off. These different games media websites. You can expect to see a lot more of them just quietly giving excuses for why they're not working for those places anymore.
Well, you can actually kind of see why they don't want to get rid of these people, because it takes a long time, or it takes a good long time for them to build up these personalities within gaming communities, these journalists.
Mm-hmm.
They have to actually build them up to a point of authority, so, you know, everybody does the whole appeal to authority thing. They say this game's good that hasn't come out yet, and people buy it.
Yep.
So they don't want to get rid of that because they have to build somebody else up like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it actually costs a good deal of money and risk for them to actually do this.
Yeah.
Why I say more risk than money, because they're actually just having to pay the person whatever their normal fee is, but they have to run it in their article to see if it's actually good or if everybody just says you're total shit.
What we've come to understand is that a lot of these people, and I've said this before to people in the past, you know, nobody just comes out of the blue and starts acting like this massive drama queen. Oftentimes, or bullying or anything like that, oftentimes they have a history of it. And what happens is that these people they finally get pushed into these positions of authority. And they gain a lot of, you know, they become a little more well-known. But all of their bad habits are still there. And right now there's a situation where, yeah, those bad habits are rearing their ugly head.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, it's going to mean their jobs, unfortunately, because I think at the beginning of this they thought, well, you know, maybe if we just play it cool, all this Gamergate shit will just go away. And it hasn't.
Yep.
It really hasn't.
Well, a lot of
I mean, go on.
Some of these things, or a lot of these things, really, they didn't start with games journalism. They ended with games journalism, and they became the most prominent face of it. But ultimately, what we need to realize is that these are games companies that are offering these incentives for these people to start acting in this way. It is collusion, but you've also got to look at the other side of the equation, which we have not done a whole lot.
I think we have. We just haven't focused that much onto it to where it's as big of an issue.
Well,
because if games journalists actually went, okay, we will not accept this stuff, then the game studios would stop doing it. But the game studios want as best of a chance to get a positive attention and stuff as possible. So.
Well, you're absolutely right, but for a time it would suck to be a games journalist because you would have to really, you know, kick, fight, and scream your way to being respected again. Whereby, in the end, the publishers, and by proxy some like hardware corporations as well, would be forced to say, okay, well, we can't bribe them anymore. It's time to put out some really awesome shit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And yeah, for a while it would probably be pretty bad, but in the end, we would very likely get some quality stuff.
Mm.
That would be nice.
Yeah, it would be nice. So, I guess that's our last topic, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or-
Well, that was kind of a topic thrown in at the end. But yeah, so I think this was a good show.
Yeah, this was a good show. I think we kept on topic, on point in many places, but yeah.
Now we're all talked out.
Yes, now we are. But yeah, I guess I'll see all of you guys later on the stream at 9. So, yay! But I gotta go make myself some dinner. So.
Oh, do you want to just sort of let us know exactly what's going to be going on in the stream? So.
Okay, we're actually going to be talking. At least that last from what I was told, we're going to be talking about our portrayal in the media. What the media had to say about us specifically.
Ooh, that's fun.
That's gonna be fun. I actually haven't read all of the articles because I'd probably get really well, not upset, but really angry at the sheer dishonesty of it all. Because
one thing I'm really happy with about this, though, is that I can now say honey badger stuff. Being an MRA, like, I talk about you guys quite a lot, and I feel kind of dumb because people are like, you mean that thing that doesn't give a bleep? And I'm like, no, they're women. And then I have to go into an explanation. And this has actually made it where I can have honey badger-centric conversations, and people know what I'm talking about.
Yay!
That's awesome. But yeah, so I've read a bit. I think I read the Metro article and I think the Mary Sue article. But I know there were other ones where they were basically depicting us as the devil, like, oh, we kicked that hate group out of there. Like, I was like, rightfully so. Oh my gosh, they had a Gamergate banner, the online hate group that eats children and rapes and pillages.
Didn't they actually paint you guys as just MRA sympathizers and not actual MRAs?
Oh, God. At one point they were calling us fake geek girls.
Oh, yeah.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, that whole thing.
And Amanda Marcotte wrote this article. I couldn't even get all the way through because I knew exactly where the fuck she was going. Like one paragraph in, I'm like, oh, I don't have the strength. There's not enough booze present for me to handle that article. Oh, shit.
Okay, well, we'll make sure to go watch it later.
All right, well, thank you very much, and thank you guys for all of your support. Really, I can't say enough of how awesome it was to see that all of you guys were behind us. We actually watched a lot of the videos that people were putting out, and, I got a little choked up in places.
Well, Allison's video, the original video, really, that really hit me hard.
Yeah.
I keep repeating this everywhere. Like, I was basically wailing and crying after it was over, and my mom had to come hug me until I calmed down, and then my dog licked away my tears, and I was just like, oh, how can people be so evil? And
I don't know.
I was just so mad I wrote an entire song about it.
I know, and I listened to your song.
God, that was terrible.
Everything that you guys did really helped cheer us up a great deal.
I'm glad.
All of us, I think, in the Honey Badger Brigade know what it's like to be on the end of bullying, so, it brought up a lot of these old issues, but, we're gonna be okay, because that's what we do. We fucking badger on, and we deal. But,
did you ever give Allison secret hugs from Otter Jesus for me?
They weren't secret hugs. I gave her several hugs. Like, every time she looked a little bit sad, I tried to give her a hug, and she left.
This is from Otter Jesus.
I didn't whisper that, but I did give her a lot of hugs.
Because I asked Anna and you to do it, but I wasn't sure if you ever saw what I said in
I didn't say like this was from Otter Jesus, but I did give her hugs when I saw that she was sad. So.
Otter Jesus is raping you.
No.
Okay. Well, I'm glad she got hugs.
Yeah, she did. She really did. She's gonna be okay, but we all deal with these things in different ways.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's fine to let people know that we aren't bulletproof, but we are going to come back. We are going to handle things the way that a lot of the social justice warriors don't. They will take that stuff and they will ride it all the way to the bank, and they will say a whole bunch of things like, "Oh my gosh, I'm this poor innocent victim," and blah blah blah.
So basically, like Lakota said, keep calm and badger on.
Yeah, shit is bad right now, but we're gonna be fine. Yeah. We have a strong bond between all of us, and we know we've been hit by stuff before, and we have you know, had these moments before in the past, and you know, we got through those, and we're gonna get through this. So we're gonna be okay.
Okay, save the rest of it for the Honey Badger show later.
Will do. Will do.
All right. So this has been the Gamergate Hug Patrol for April the 23rd. Don't forget to tune in to the Honey Badger radio station later at, was it 8 o'clock Central?
I think it's 9. It's 9 Eastern.
9 Eastern. Okay. And don't forget to rate, comment, and subscribe. And we hope to see you guys later.
Yay.
Bye.